Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to the stock market jobber. So I like to talk about technical analysis, and I hate that name, technical analysis, for some reason. It's just too broad. When we look at a market, what are we doing? We're when we look at a chart, what are we doing? We're analyzing psychology and supply and demand. So we would be better off being called psychology slash supply and demand analyst. I guess that's a lot harder to say, but that's really what we do. If you're a technical analyst and you're doing it right. See, it's not about finding patterns. A lot of people I've seen over the years, and believe me, I've been doing this for a long time. They say, like, oh, look at that. It looks like this pattern. Or look at that. It looks like this pattern. But they don't really understand what it is that the pattern illustrates. And it's not important to understand what the names are, to remember the names, I should say. If you understand what the patterns illustrate, it's just going to make your life a lot easier as a trader. And there's a lot of garbage out there. I would say most of it. Man, I've been on Reddit and some of the stuff I see on there is just so, it's just like, I don't even know what to say. It leaves me speechless at how incompetent it is. But anyway, let's go to NVDA here. And this could be what we call the old classic flag pattern. And if it is, it's got bullish ramifications. It would suggest the stock would go to about 910 or 920. Now, this is a short-term pattern. I don't care where it's going to be in a year or two. Well, it's not that I don't care, but that's not what I'm talking about. This is more for short and intermediate term traders. So this is the flag pattern. See, this is like the flagpole, and this is the flag. Let's think about what happens. News comes out. I got the arrow over there, but it should really be there. So news comes out here, and it's this great news, and the buyers go absolutely nuts and they rip the thing higher. That's the flagpole. Maybe it happens in a day, maybe it happens in 3 days, maybe it happens in a week. It doesn't matter. There's no formula. It's the buyers went nuts. They took this thing all the way from 680 up to 780. It was up $100 in one day. So then what happens is the buyers start to say, this is getting a little out of hand here. Maybe it's me. I mean, it's not going to be a retail trader, but like maybe it's an institutional trader that has 1 million shares to buy and they've bought 100,000 or 300,000 and they still leave a lot left to buy. They might say, maybe it's me who's taking this thing up. I'm being too aggressive. Other traders out there think the same thing. So they think, oh, well, let's step aside. Let's leave the market. If it's us who's taking it higher, if I step aside for a few days, the price will come lower, and then I could go finish my buy order at a lower price. So the buyers step away. And as a result, what happens? You get a very little volume trades. So notice how little the volume is. It's literally like half of what it was just a couple of days before. Then after, in this case, 5 days, the buyers say, I've been out of the market. It hasn't come down. So I'm just going to go get back in there. I'm going to finish up my order. And they get back in, and then the aggressive buying starts again. And according to traditional technical analysis, the flag happens halfway through the trend. So that would put our target up around 910. So remember, it's not magic. It's not astrology. It's not tea leaves. It's an illustration that the buyers who took this thing up so aggressively have decided to take a step back and say to themselves, all right, let me see if this thing comes back to earth here. After a couple days, it hasn't come back to earth. And they're like, you know what? I'm going to just jump back in and I'm going to keep buying. And then that brings us to the second part of the pattern. Well, it's actually the third part where we move higher. And according to traditional technical analysis, Edwards and McGee and Schwabacher, so forth, the target should be up there. Anyway, that is the flag pattern. The key is the low volume. Now, if there was high volume during the sideways pattern, the traditional technical analysis way to interpret it would be it's a topping pattern. It's a reversal pattern. It's going to go lower. But because the volume is so light, it doesn't really show us a top. It shows that the buyers who have been driving it higher have just stepped aside for a while. And when they come back in, the uptrend will resume. So hopefully that helps. And I hope to see you back. And I will talk to you soon. Thanks, everyone.